Well, we're going to continue monitoring that game for you and keep you updated in case you are watching us at home. But first, let's move on to another football story. That is the 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifiers for the African continent are currently underway. Bafana Bafana secured an important win against Benin yesterday, while Nigeria were held to a 1-1 draw by Lesotho. Rwanda and Zimbabwe played also to a goalless draw, which sees South Africa top Group C. To speak about those current qualifiers, with the focus, of course, on Bafana Bafana, we're joined by SABC Sports journalist Velile Mnyandu. Bravi, I know you have your eye on the CAF Women's Final, so I'm going to keep you updated. We've got the screen right here in studio, so I'm going to let you know. You don't have to keep your eye there. But first, can we talk about Bafana Bafana's game first against Benin? What does it mean in the way that they've started this competition? And also, is this a good sign? Is this a sign of good things to come from this team?
Good evening, Kate, and also to your viewers. I think when you look at how the team has started, maybe you can also say that because so far they are the only team that has registered a victory in Group C. We saw even today Nigeria playing against Lesotho, again that game. In fact, against Zimbabwe, Nigeria and Zimbabwe. In Rwanda, that game also ending in yet another draw. So meaning that those two teams have collected 2 draws in their first 2 matches. So those are the kind of results that are aligning for Bafana Bafana. So I think yesterday the performance, yes, maybe the first half performance was very good. Maybe we failed to make use of the chances. And also when you look at the goal that we conceded, I felt that lapse of concentration from the moment we lost the ball in the midfield to how our rest defense dealt with the situation there. But I think what is important when it comes to these kind of qualifiers, it is the points at the end of the day. And I think yesterday, that is what we got. 3 points from the game. Would have loved a goal difference. In fact, would have loved a clean sheet, because this being a FIFA competition, they use goal difference instead of head-to-head to separate teams when they are tied on points.
Yeah, we've definitely seen, I mean, looks, as things stand, do you believe, just quickly, like, can they maintain the start? But also, as you mentioned, I think a lot goes into what the other teams have done around them.
100%. And also, we always say that even Pito Musumani during his days when he was here in the country, we also say that he doesn't need to beat Chiefs to win the league. It's neck on neck with Chiefs. So in this case, we don't need to beat Nigeria to qualify, especially away. What is important in qualifiers, Kate, is to ensure that you win all your home matches, and then you stick points away. And here we're talking about 5 teams that we're playing against. So that means we're playing 5 home matches, and we get all the 5 wins at home. That's 15 points. And we still some points away. We get a draw here, we still a win here. And also remember, countries like Zimbabwe and Lesotho, they don't have the stadia to play at home. So most likely they're going to play their home matches here in South Africa. That's
amazing news. But also we've seen quite an improvement with Bafana Bafana, and I see a bit of optimism as far as South African fans are concerned. They're not 100% there yet, like the 2010 fever. But what do you believe Hugo Broos has done right since he took over?
Kate, this is a team that has been unbeaten now, I think in about 13 matches. This is a team also here at home that has been unbeaten since coach Hugo Broos also took over. And I'm not counting the COSAFA matches because he's not coaching in that space. They've qualified for the AFCON. And also, even if you go back to the last World Cup qualifying campaign for Qatar, this team had also done well in that space as well. So I think for me, there's got to be other reasons that our fans are really not rallying behind this team, because it cannot be about results. Honestly, and also I think there's the progression that we've seen yesterday. But there was a promising turnout yesterday at Moses Mabhida Stadium, and I think this also indicates that we need to keep this team away from Gauteng, unfortunately, because here there's not been a good support for the team. I know that most of the time they prefer to come here also for altitude reasons, but I think here support comes first. Yesterday I was looking at this Benin game, and I remember a game I had watched of Benin losing to Mozambique a few months ago in the AFCON qualifiers, and it was a packed crowd that we saw in Maputo, and I think that is the fear factor we need to instill on our opponents.
Yeah, absolutely. You need to take those games elsewhere. I absolutely concur. But before I let you go, just a final one. We'll look at yesterday's team that played, well, even in recent months, the teams that Hugo Bruce have named, dominated by Sundowns players, as you would expect. But do you believe that their CAF competition experience has played a significant role now in how Bafana Bafana does play?
Without a doubt, and I think you've asked a very good question here, Kate, especially when you look at the fact that yesterday, Jeanette Rowe, who's the coach of Benin, he's previously helped Nigeria to qualify to the 2018 World Cup. And if you recall at the time, the coach of Cameroon was the coach Hugo Bruce. So they lost as Cameroon to Coach Jeanette Rowe, and yesterday he got one over him. And Coach Jeanette Rowe also spoke about this in the post-match conference yesterday, in terms of how the dominance of Sundowns here locally, and also their good run on the continent, and with also the good players as well, is helping Bafana Bafana. And also he says he supports what is happening, because also he says that we've seen this happening even in other national teams. Those who've been following football for a very long time will know about the great Italian team under Arrigo Sacchi that had a lot of Juventus, so AC Milan and also Inter Milan players. We will recall the 2010 World Cup team of Spain that had Barcelona, that also had Real Madrid, but mainly dominated by Barcelona players. So you can even go to the 2014 World Cup winning team of Germany that had Bayern Munich players under Pep Guardiola as well. So this is nothing new. I mean, in the previous game that we played very well against Cote d'Ivoire, we had about 6 players from Sundowns. Again, that was retained yesterday. And when also look at Pesitao, who's also a Sundowns product, you make that 7. So I think we are still going to see this for a very long time, especially with their performances on the continent.
I mean, it's not really a bad thing, because as long as it benefits Bafana Bafana and the nation wins, it's definitely not a bad thing. So it's not a Sundowns team, it's the Bafana Bafana team. Velile Mnyandu, unfortunately, that's all the time we have for you this evening. Thank you so much for joining us. Unpacking all things World Cup qualifiers is SABC Sports journalist Velile Mnyandu.